Hi, welcome to Bead Mosaics. I'm Sabrina Fry, and today I'm going to be showing you some of the instruments that I use to do bead mosaics. These are my kind of standard supplies, and so I wanted to kind of give you an overview of some of these and some of the other materials that I use. So here you're seeing I use a couple of types of tweezers. Some are sharper than others. This is for picking up various types of beads. Pointier ones for smaller, larger ones for larger beads. Also a paintbrush, can be any paintbrush for doing craft and acrylic paints. The next one is the glittery one with the kind of cone-shaped end, is actually a bead picker, and this allows you to pick up crystal beads or any type of bead one by one very easily. And the reason I use this one with the wax end is when you're picking up flat back beads that are sometimes hard to pick up with the tweezers, these make it a lot easier. Then I use a poker and an X-Acto knife and a scraping knife. All three of these different types of sharp objects are used for different things, cutting mat boards, cleaning things up. Then I use acrylic paint sometimes. Doesn't matter the colors. It can be craft paint. We're not going to be painters here, so you don't have to get too particular about that. And then I also use these bead scoopers. Now these are two types. One is plastic and the other is metal. Doesn't matter which one you use. It's completely up to you. They both work just fine. The pink ones tend to have a little flatter edge to them, so it makes it a little bit easier to pick up the beads when you need to. But other than that, they're the same. And they do come in various sizes and styles as well. A couple of other tools that I use regularly, and for nothing specific, but I always tend to need them, are my wire cutters, which are the ones with the blue handle. These are very sharp, but they definitely come in handy, as well as my flat-nosed pliers. And these are great for grabbing strings, holding on to beads, just miscellaneous things that tend to happen during the process. And I always keep them handy and ready and available. Another thing that I use a lot of are these small containers, and I got these at the dollar store, a pack of 6 or something like that. But they're great for sorting beads, keeping them contained, because as you know, beads like to travel and like to move around. So with these containers, you can stack them up if you don't want to put them away, but it makes it really easy to grab the beads when jars or containers are sometimes harder to work with. The next one is a contact lens holder, and I use this to put glue in one side and beads in the other so that I can easily pull the bead out, dip it in the glue, and move.
Next we have the EVA foam, or ethanol vinyl acetate, but what we like to call Art Edge product. And this is a self-adhesive product that we use to line the edges, to create trees, to create lines in the artwork. And this is stuff that you can find at most craft stores if you want to cut your own, or we do sell pre-cut strips on the beadmosaic.com website. And also full-size sheets. So you can use this very versatile product to help you contain your beads and make a cleaner project.
The next product that I use is a primer. Now you can use gesso, which is an artistic primer, but it really doesn't matter. This is more affordable. It doesn't have to be this brand. It can be any multi-surface primer and sealer. But you want to make sure that you have a good base coat on your piece, and primer makes a really big difference. Of course, you're going to need a lot of beads. Now, we're going to go over beads in a different video because there are so many different types and styles that I want to give you plenty of time to look those over and learn about them. After that, you're going to need a flat surface, and I recommend using a board or MDF because you need something that's very solid for this process. You don't want any flex in that because that will break the bond between the beads. And what you're going to need to do is prepare the board. I prefer that you sand it and then cover it over with the gesso or primer that I showed you earlier in this video. Then you're going to draw your design on top of that board, and it's okay if it's not 100% white. You're going to draw the design, and then you're going to cover it up with more primer and gesso. The reason that you do this is because if there's any pencil dust on your board when you put the
art edge on top of it,
it will pick up the pencil dust and it won't stick to the board. Now, primer is nice because it does still make it somewhat translucent. So it picks up that pencil dust, but you can still see the outline very subtly underneath. So those pencil lines don't have to be super dark, but you want them dark enough that when you put a light layer of primer over the top, you can still see them. Just smooth it out, let it dry, and be ready to start setting some lines on top of it. So here's another piece that is already dry, and you can see those lines are faint underneath it, but they are still prominent enough that I won't have a problem laying those lines on top of it. And I'm going to show you how to do that in another video, but this is part of the prep process. It's a very important one that you don't really want to skip. I've learned some bad things by skipping over that process.
now that your surface is ready, you're ready for beads, and you're going to need the glue to do it. So this is Sabrina's special skinny glue, and I spent a few years figuring out this exact formula that is going to keep your beads in place. It's also a very thin glue, that's why I call it skinny glue, but it works with several different principles of science that just going to keep your beads in place. And what you're going to do is you are going to pour your glue into a dispensing container if it didn't already come in one, and you're going to drip the glue into place. Now this is like I said, it's called skinny glue for a reason. It does have a long drying time, and you're just going to have to wait depending on the humidity levels in your area. But when it dries, it will sink down to the bottom and dry completely clear. When it's totally cured, you're going to get ready for the final process of this. But this product is made to make this whole process very easy.
The last product I'm going to tell you about is the final step, and that is covering your entire project with triple thick glaze. This comes in a couple of brands. Just make sure that it is non-yellowing, high gloss, triple thick glaze. What you're going to do is you're going to liberally coat your project with this, and this acts as a couple of things. One, it's an additional adhesive, but it also is going to seal it and allow it to not be as vulnerable as it would be. It's going to make it shine and just give you another layer of protection. The reason that I don't use resin in this process, and I get asked this a lot, is because resin is a very thick product when it dries, and it will fill in all the gaps between the beads. And when you do that, the beads lose a lot of their radiance and their ability to reflect the light. One thing about this type of mosaic is that it's extremely brilliant, and you're playing on the facets of the beads, so you don't want to do anything that's going to hinder that. So this product dries very light and thin, but securely on there. Thank you for joining me in this video showing you the materials that you use in order to make bead mosaics. And I hope you follow me on Facebook and Instagram and take a chance to look at my website to see some of my finished artwork.